And I said, I haven't seen Ivana's TV show. How is it? And he goes, it's good. It's a little weird watching with the family with naked sister. And I'm like, she's naked? And he goes, she's very naked.
I'm so naked. No, we all were really European about it because I was like, that's another bad decision. Maybe not. I wouldn't do any nudity in my early career while I was such like a good little Christian girl that I
I know.
really was comfortable doing it till later. But then when I was ready for it, I just went balls to the wall.
Welcome back to the Bad Decisions podcast, where we lead not with celebrity, but with story. On today's show, I'm sitting down with a woman who's lived about 6 different lives and made every one of them interesting. You know her as Carrie Hopewell from Banshee, the badass double-life heroine who could outfight men and outthink the cops. You've seen her in Casino Royale, Love Actually, Seinfeld, and about 100 other places where she quietly stole the scene. But before all that, Ivana Milicevic, the spelling will be in the description, was a kid from Sarajevo who landed in Michigan, survived reinvention after reinvention, and somehow turned that outsider spirit into a Hollywood career that refuses to fit into any box. These days, she's not just an actress. She's also the co-host of the Notions podcast in Dublin, Ireland, where she brings her sharp humor and unfiltered honesty to conversations that are as wild and unpredictable as she herself. We talk about bad decisions that led to good stories, motherhood and midlife, surviving Hollywood, and why starting over again and again and again might just be her superpower. So pour yourself a drink and strap in, because Ivana Milicevic is here and she's got stories. Welcome.
Thank you. What an intro. Oh my God, I got to work harder on my own. That's amazing.
I think mine
Thank
are
you,
too
Scott.
long. I think they're novellas, but you know. So we go way back.
I don't even remember. How old was I when I met you?
Definitely underage, because you were in a nightclub that I was working at, and I think it was Shelter or China Club in Chicago, right?
Oh, yes.
And then
Did you know
someone told me
Kristen then too?
that's where we all met that night.
Yeah.
You were wearing your matching like Elite t-shirts or Ford t-shirts. Which agency were you with?
Elite, of course. It was the 90s.
Elite, right. So I remember my friend Mike Blatter pulls me aside and he goes, "There's no way those 2 girls dancing on the bar are legal." And I said, "Let me go talk to him." And I walk up to you two, and Kristen bends over, and Groove is in the Heart by Delight is playing. And I was just like, "Hey, ladies." And Kristen just bends over and gets nose to nose with me and says, "Groove is in the heart." And I said, "This isn't my liquor license. I can't be bothered with this." And I was just like, "Have fun."
Yeah.
So
but also we were not naughty. We weren't like out drinking, really. We were out dancing.
Yeah, you were dancing. And then we reconnected a couple years later at the whiskey bar, where I met half of my friends to this day.
I know. What a life we've had. We're so lucky. We Gen Xers, man.
We're going to be like, they don't know. They don't know.
I know. It's like I watch what is it? What's that show called? With the Demogorgon? Stranger Things. Oh my God. And I look at their life, and I was exactly like that, except for I didn't play Dungeons and Dragons, but all my friends did. We're so lucky that we had that, all your friends are there where the bikes are. Because you're Midwest.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're from the same
like
stock.
Chicago City. Yes, we are.
No, I'm from the suburbs like you are.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm from like 17 Mile, not 8 Mile. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're I'm definitely like suburbia. So let's jump in from the beginning. You're Croatian, you're born in Sarajevo, you came to America as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the moment that you realized your life had split into before and after back then?
Totally. Because airplanes represented different sets of grandparents, because my father's parents were already in America, in Michigan, and my mom's side were in Croatia. So I was either visiting one or the other, and it was a very big difference to me at that age, knowing America versus, it's just America versus at that time Yugoslavia. Huge difference. And when we moved, I even have a memory that is really clear in my head. And that is because my grandfather picked us up from Toronto when we landed in Michigan, landed to live in America forever. And I remember we were driving through Detroit and there was like a black kid who was holding up like lifesavers, I know now to be. And it was like glistening in the sun because the only candy we had over there that had a hole in it was like white peppermints. And I was like, what? It looked like a jewel in the sun. And I remember being like this pressed up against the car looking at this kid with this special candy because I did love candy already at 5.5 years old. So it's a
Isn't that
very
funny?
big difference. The cars had all these little buttons, like we had the equivalent of a Yugo over there. And we were lucky to have one because this was still like a communist country. Although don't be
Sure.
thinking USSR, Czechoslovakia, it was like very chill compared to the rest of Eastern Europe
Sure.
because we're the furthest
Sure.
west as well.
Yeah. Interesting. So, two questions. Why did your parents, who I adore, by the way, decide to settle in Michigan of all places? And let's talk Dunkin' Donuts.
Let's definitely talk Dunkin' Donuts because my grandfather was he had gotten a job with General Motors in Michigan. So he did the immigrant
Okay.
thing in the mid 70s and moved to Detroit, was working for General Motors forever because they had all these immigrants because immigrants were working their asses off because they're used to working their asses off and not getting paid. So they were really good workers and great engineers, right?
Yeah.
So then he flew out my family in the rest, he flew out his family, which is my dad and my dad's sisters and his brother. And by the time my dad was already in college though, so he came to visit in Michigan. He was in college. In that time, he met my mom. They got married. I was born. Toma was born. And in all that time, though, we were getting our green cards to come to live in America. But that's why Michigan, because that's where my grandfather settled in a time where they were still, hungry for workers from all over the world. And
Okay.
I think America wrote back first. He had written letters to, companies in Canada, Germany, and he picked Michigan because that was still Detroit. That was still
Yeah.
the car
Yeah. It was Motor
capital.
City. It was burgeoning. It was
Yeah,
popping for sure.
yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts. Let's get into it.
So my dad, neither of them spoke English when they came here. My parents, when they came there, I'm in Europe again. And they couldn't do their field. So my mom was a psychologist, couldn't do it in America. My dad was an agricultural engineer, couldn't do it in America. So he did what so many immigrants did in Michigan, and he worked in a packing company for pork. So he was
Okay.
busting his ass. And came a time where the company was on strike because they didn't give them bathroom breaks. All those horrible stories you hear about assembly line workers and those
Sure.
places. So we had Serbian friends that had a Dunkin' Donuts. Well, it was Don Donuts at the time, who had let's just say a donut shop. And my dad was working with him during the strike, and that friend helped my dad find a location and, work for themselves. And that was a very different life then when my parents started working because Dunkin' Donuts was 247. That whole time to make the donuts is for real. And they were such good listeners and rule followers. We never had a vacation. They were working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Like either my dad was there all night making donuts. My mom was selling them all day. Later on, they started to go like, you know what? The workers will work. They'd even close sometimes on Christmas, but they it was that American nightmare kind of where it's like, welcome to America. You can make money, but you will never get a vacation. You just got to bust your ass at all times.
Right.
And
Where was that in Pontiac?
yes,
That was kind of
right
a
off
rough
of
place,
Martin
right?
Luther King Boulevard. Pardon?
It's a rough place, right?
It
Uh,
was. My dad had been held up, like gun to his head, came in through the, like they had a little drive-through window. Thought he was gonna die. Guns to his head, two guys.
yeah.
But he didn't, thank God. Like
Yeah, no, he didn't. And, they moved out here. They opened up the Roxbury Cafe, which I miss, which I used to eat at all the time, just because I'd like to
it was
go in there
so
and be.
good.
I'd go in there and BS with your dad and Philip and have a smoothie. And my buddy Jay, who's a plastic surgeon, was upstairs in that Roxanne building. So that was just like my little regional hang. And I'd eat there with all the plastic surgeon guys.
My mom would get all the people with their bandages coming down to have some, burgers or whatever after their surgeries and their
That culture
checkups.
that culture is so funny. So the pharmacy down the street, Mickey Fine, with the old fashioned soda counter. So
Yeah.
I always like their logo. It's like so vintage. So I bought a T-shirt there, and then last year I was in Europe. I was at a wedding in Milan, and I'm wearing my Mickey Fine's T-shirt in Piazza Vittoria, the fancy shopping area. And this lady goes, "That's where I get all my painkillers from after my work." And I'm like, "That's where everyone gets their painkillers after their work." But it was just like such
Good
a
to know.
funny, if you know, you know kind of thing. The Mickey Fine's shirt.
Not yet, but I'm gonna know. I'm sure know one day. Keeping it tight so far.
Not anytime soon. You're aging like Bordeaux.
Yeah. It's the joy. Thank you.
All
That's
right,
so
so
nice.
so but so back in those early heady days, your core group, who I remember well, was our dear friend Kristen Zhang, and
Mm-hmm.
Kristen dated Nick Cage and Leo DiCaprio, and then Mary
First
Weiland,
it
who
was
married.
Guy.
Okay,
First
I
it
was
was
Siri,
Guy
right, right,
Fieri.
right.
That we call her the Power Poussoir. She's gonna come on
That's
my
in,
podcast and I'm gonna make her talk about it. First
that's
Guy
interesting.
O'Siri,
Yeah, go
then Nicolas Cage, then Leo.
yeah. I used to call her the GP, the Golden Poussoir.
Yeah, same thing. Same things. There are those kingmakers. Pamela Anderson
Yeah,
is one of them. I
she's
like.
the ultimate muse. Yeah, I remember like Kristen and I were very close. So we didn't
Yeah.
have any secrets whatsoever. So one time I'm just sitting on the toilet and she's in the bathtub and we're just shooting the shit. And I was like, "Listen, Kristen, I could really use a break in this town. Can I put just like my pinky finger in?" She's like, "No." And I'm like, "Come on, I need luck."
Nope. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, so many funny stories. I remember Kristen and we made a bunch of gin martinis at her place on Flores, got hammered, and then we used to just get violent and beat the shit out of each other, just laughing. And then the next morning,
What?
not actually beat the shit out of each other, just like
Okay.
slapping and listening to R. Kelly and pulling each other's hair and just being drunk idiots. And then we'd pass out on the floor and wake up with sore necks. So one morning we got up and she said, "I got to go walk Emma." That was her dog. And so we get dressed, we go out on Flores, hung over, and there's people taking pictures. Cut to Kristen's on like the National Enquirer, one of those tabloids, and we had just eaten leftover cold pasta out of the fridge, so we're all gross. And it says, "Is Kristen pregnant with Leo's baby?" And she's like, "I just ate pasta. I'm not
I
pregnant."
remember that. I
It was
remember
so
that.
it was so funny.
God, we'd
And
get so
then
bloated.
Yeah, and then Mary Weiland, Mary Forsberg, who married Scott Weiland, who I adore. We used to have an annual dinner, and I don't know, somehow that's fallen off, but I need to catch up with her one of these days. And of
He lives
course,
in
that other
Dallas.
girl, she's living in Dallas now?
Yeah.
Okay, that explains it. And then
Hmm.
Charlize Theron, I don't know whatever became of her, but she was a nice girl.
I don't know either. Yeah, I don't know what happened to her.
So
We
you
actually
were
literally don't know what happened to her. Actually, we know
right, right.
we know what everyone else knows.
Right, 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 right. So which of you were in that apartment on Stanley Avenue across from
Oh,
Jeff
that's
Lemire?
early days. That's me, Mary Kristen. That
Yeah, so
Charlize
tell
wasn't
me.
even in. She wasn't even in town yet. She came kind of later. The OG, like
Yeah. So
was
tell me about
found.
Stanley. And you were across the street from Jeff Levine,
Yes, yes. That was, I think,
who
one of the
was just
first
on the
guys.
show.
I know he was.
Yeah.
Again? Did he go, did he come on
No,
twice?
no, just the ones.
Um, so that was a model's apartment. We were disgusting because we were children and we spent most of our money, like quarters, making our jeans tighter more than in the dryer, more than washing them. Oh my God, we were just such babies. Like it's like nobody taught us. Ugh. Is that what college girls are like, or do they know better? Do they have more sense? But we weren't college girls because we were 17.
Right, but no, at that age,
Maybe I was 18. Yeah.
everyone's feral, left to their own devices.
Feral. We used to
Yeah.
get in trouble because there would be like makeup on the walls. Like, what were we doing? And then I moved in there and there wasn't an extra bed. So then we like split up one of the beds and I slept on a box spring. And I was like, amazing. Because do you remember Natasha Contronio?
No.
Yeah, she was another one that lived there. You might have missed her because like she was always like with the rock guys. And Kristen and
Right.
I were always on the dance floor. Like always on the dance floor. Oh man.
So so good. So wait, when did you arrive in LA?
92, January of 92.
All
I
right.
was 17 and I hadn't graduated yet. I mean, I had graduated. I had my points. I went back to graduate. I graduated early, but I hadn't had my commencement yet. So I went in January and then I went back in like June or whenever it was to graduate with my class.
Got you. Yeah, I
Came
came
back to Michigan. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, you haven't changed." I was like, "I know." It was like 4 months.
yeah, it was that funny. Um I
I've changed now.
Yeah, yeah, you for sure have. Yeah, I got here in the beginning of '94, so you beat me by a couple of years. So
Yeah.
when did I remember Charlize lived at the Farmer's Daughter Motel on Fairfax? What year was that?
That would have been, oh God, I feel like
Ish.
she came soon after because I feel like I met her. I turned 21 in the time I knew her, but I don't think we were together live because we lived together so long when I was 20. I mean, when I didn't turn 20 with her. Did I?
Right.
Did I meet her when I was 19 or 20? But right there. Right there. So whatever year that was, don't make me do that math.
It's okay.
31
Um,
years ago.
all right.
So still the
All right.
90s though. And
True.
then we lived
True, true.
together in a like little studio on Orange Grove. Orange, you know that like little area by Big Five, like right by Big Five.
Yeah. Is that Orange
And
Drive or Orange Grove? I get them mixed up, but yeah, I know what you're talking
the
about.
little one, it was like a little apartment upstairs. Then we moved into a little house on Edinburgh. It was like we
Mm-hmm.
had moved up in the world. And and then we like lived separately from then on.
Got you. So, you started as a dancer and a model before acting.
Dancer. I
Not
mean, dancing for dollars maybe, but like not like a ballerina.
not like a pro dancer, but what were some of your bad decisions that you made in Hollywood that actually became good in the end? Because bad decisions always lead to growth.
My worst decisions were always with bad boyfriends because I really felt like I had guardian angels in terms of um like I never got like stuck in drugs. Not like I'd never tried a drug or anything, but I kept getting saved from I really did. Like ask around. Like there's no bad really rumors about me. But man, did I pick some really bad boyfriends for a long time. But I needed each and every single one of those guys to get to where I was today because now I have the most incredible marriage and the best husband and the best relationship and a great kid and the whole thing. And my parents have just moved in with us in Dublin like forever.
That's so
And I have a
great.
husband who's like, come on. And so, because I don't know if you saw the podcast where I talked about my like one ex that I thought for sure I was going to marry, and he cheated on me. But not just cheated, like I found out he got somebody pregnant. But that relationship, I probably grew most of all from that one because there was nothing that was scarier to me than being cheated on. And I still wouldn't like it, but I see it's not the end of the world. It still could kill a relationship. I'm not saying like it's fine. I'm definitely a one man woman, and I'm not an open. I'm not a polyamorous person. I don't think I have it in me. My God, I never even slept around. I kissed everybody, but I couldn't. I put the pussy on the pedestal. You know what I'm
Fair
saying?
enough.
So what
So,
other bad? Oh, I know a bad decision. I know huge
tell me.
bad decisions all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I had so many more opportunities, of course, like in Hollywood when I was younger, or even modeling. Oh yeah, I made a lot of bad decisions. So if I had a big audition, but the night before was like that Friday night when we have all the Halloween parties in
Yeah.
Hollywood, and
Yeah.
if I had an amazing costume, if you think I was working on that audition instead of going to the party, you'd be wrong. So I missed out on all of these great opportunities by not being as prepared because I was always having fun, not doing anything bad. It's not like I was drunk or hungover. It's not that. I was just not focused on that thing till I was older. And the same thing with modeling in a way, not that I would have been some huge model if I was more serious about it, but when I became friends with bigger huge models like Shalom, Guinevere, whatever. Like, you talk to them and how like what they did in their career. And I was like, oh, so you didn't just do a Quicksilver campaign because it was shooting in Hawaii. You picked the photographers carefully and you picked the jobs. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Or maybe an agent was supposed to do that with me, but I was like, I didn't want to leave LA much. So, but again, all of those decisions led to me being where I am. And I don't really have regrets, not for my acting career or my modeling career, because I still think I'm one of the happiest people I know, especially having been through Hollywood,
You are,
you
and
know?
I tell this was your path, not that. Like
I
I
think,
can I can still remember Cameron Diaz with her fists on hips doing Robinson's Made Bra ads in the newspaper.
yeah,
And
I did modeling. I
and
modeled with her.
I know
I remember
all
when
you.
Cameron went on some dumb audition originally to play a singing cop. And then they were like, oh, come read for this other one. She was like, yeah, it was just like, I was like, okay. And then it was freaking The Mask. And
Yeah,
it was an immediate hit. And she's just such a little ray of sunshine, isn't she? Do you see her
she was.
around? Where's she?
I saw her 2 years ago at Soho House in the elevator, and she was like, "Where do I know you from?" And
Yeah.
I said Jennifer Jimenez. Remember Jenny? Uh,
Yes.
I
Of
said,
course.
me and Jennifer ran into you at Chalet Gourmet, which is now Bristol Farms. And you were like, hey, do you guys want to come over for dinner? So we went over to her place at El Royale and she cooked dinner for us and she like rolled a joint with
She's
one
a great
hand,
cook.
which I thought was so cool. And yeah, she's just the real deal. And she was like, oh my God, yeah, that's right. I do remember that. And then I think she quickly started dating Matt Dillon after that.
Was that
Remember
time?
that?
Matt, that was a long time ago, though, because now
Yeah, it
she's
was.
married.
Yeah, this was
Because, yeah, everybody sort
pre-mask.
of
This was
disappeared.
It happens. It happens. I remember the first night I met Charlize, a group of us. I don't think you were there. We went to Formosa Cafe.
Or
And
how could
yeah, and we were at Formosa Cafe and I go, I know you. I just saw that movie 2 Days in the Valley. She goes, nobody saw that movie. I said, I literally just saw it at Sunset 5. And I said, what made you go there? And I was literally in the 8,000 Sunset building and it was like the next available movie. And I just felt like seeing a movie. And she goes, nobody saw that movie. But I thought it was like
yeah.
long before she was recognizable. And that was kind of cool.
She was really good in that movie, though.
Look,
But that
she's
was her
really good
first
at
one.
she's
She's
really
really good.
good in everything. I mean, she's a
Really good.
different breed of cat, but she's a tremendous
Yeah,
actor and always has been. Um,
true.
so I remember when you kind of got your first money, you did something that only old movie stars did, like Natalie Wood and Jane Mansfield and John Lennon. You did a custom car. You got a T-Bird, pink drop top with rims. What inspired that?
And I will have it again. And I will get that same car again. It is my favorite car I've ever had. Should we get Jay Leno on this to have this conversation as well? Put a
Maybe.
third thing. I had seen it on the road because Ford had, and they only did that one model and then they stopped it again because it
Yeah.
was like a V8 two-seater in the 2000s. Like who's doing that? Oh, yeah, it was the 2000s. I don't remember the year my car was, but and Galpin Ford they had the rights to the old color, the dusty rose or dusk rose pink. And I had white wall tires that they did the whole thing, white wall tires, the parts inside, the leather was the same, dusk rose pink, the stick shift, the whatever gear shift, because
Selector,
it's
yeah.
automatic. What do you call it? The selector, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was pink, but it had a white hardtop with a little porthole window, and it had a black hardtop, and it was amazing. I saw somebody driving it, and I was like, I have to have that car. And it was a really expensive thing to do to have that car because it was so much more than what a Thunderbird cost. Because they had the mint green color.
Yep.
Oh no, it was baby blue. The mint green was another one that you could make custom. I love it. And I sold that car on eBay
Hmm.
to somebody who had another, like a pink Cadillac as well. And I was like, why does she get to have two pink cars and I now have zero pink cars? I think she might have been like a Mary Kay person. And I put it like,
Uh,
buy it now at 25 grand. And I think people were waiting, to see what was going to happen. And then in the last second, that person swiped and actually bought it for that. Because when you're selling a pink car, you either have to have it or you want nothing to do with it.
100%.
I love that car so much. That
You
was,
know, I
you know
had a
what? That's the most movie star thing I ever did, I think. You're right.
it's really movie star because
That and marry a man when I was younger.
like Natalie Wood used to do that with every one of her cars. Like her 300 SL Mercedes, that was one of 25. She painted that thing pink. And that car was
Did
so
you,
iconic.
is that the
Sorry.
one you almost died in?
No, I have her last car currently in my garage that I will probably never drive again. Yeah, that was a different Mercedes. That one sold at RM Sotheby's for almost $2 million. That one that she painted pink, but it was brought back to its original factory silver
Yeah, yeah.
over red. But those 300 SLs from that era sell for about that anyway, you know?
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't know that. I don't know that. All I know is that I was thinking about this today. All I know is that my favorite cars in the world are old American cars, the ones that look good in pastels.
You're a
I love a
Motown
fast.
girl.
I guess so, because I'm also European, but then on that side, I am like a Lambo bitch. Like I am a Countach. Like not a classic, black Ferrari that a lady would drive. Like Patty would be about a Ferrari. I'm like Lambo. Like of
The
course, I'm so Russian.
loud statement, vulgar.
Just I don't know. I like how they're angular. Like either do that. Now I don't even want a Lamborghini. It's not even something I want. I just like their angles. Just like I kind of am into like the Sid Mead version of the 80s modern car that's like super rectangular.
Hmm.
You go through these things. I like the bubbliness of the 60s.
I do
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
What's your favorite car?
Yeah. My favorite car is I'm not really a Ferrari person, but I think the most beautiful car ever made was the Ferrari 250 GTO. And it was designed by this guy that I'm obsessed with, named Leonardo Fioravanti. And Fioravanti designed all of his body shapes to resemble the curves of women.
I mean,
Now,
he's Italian. Of course he did.
yeah. So now he had a counterpart in that era named Marcello Gandini, and he did all of those flat, plain, folded paper looks that you like. Like he did,
I
he did,
also like that.
yeah, he
I
did
like what you're
Fiat.
saying as well.
He did Lamborghini. He did the Lamborghini Mira, which many people consider the most beautiful
Yeah,
car ever made. So
me too.
Gandini and Fioravanti were cool, and it's funny. The owners, Ferruccio Lamborghini, really cared about racing, and so did Enzo Ferrari. And they just outsourced those guys to just build beautiful bodies, but they really only cared about making performance cars. And say what you will about the
I think
Italians
it's
being
all about the
disorganized.
body. For
I
pardon?
agree. I agree. I said, say what you want about Italians being disorganized, but they do know how to make beautiful things.
They do. They do. And they know how to have a beautiful life.
That's right. They take the summers off. They take 2-hour lunches. They don't break their backs their whole lives to make payments on a Porsche. They know how to live. Food,
Mm-hmm.
wine, art, sex, sleep.
Repeat.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so
Actually,
let's talk.
we'll fit. Yeah, tell me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say that my favorite car right now, a modern one, is I really like before they changed the body recently. I like the Porsche Taycan.
I like it too.
It,
I
the
like
like
it too.
the
They're very cheap on the secondary market. I don't know why, but they sell for like
crazy. I'm
20
like, perfect. Yeah.
on the
How
yeah, you
much?
buy a year old one, a 2-year old one, and they're like 25% of what they were new. For some reason, nobody wants them used.
I don't know
Which
exact, and I don't
which
get
which is crazy because they come with a 10-year warranty on the battery, so that's not an issue. But
yeah,
let's
yeah.
talk more about you.
Okay.
So so you've been in a lot of things and bits in the beginning, but you were in very important rooms. You did Jerry Maguire, you did Seinfeld, you were in Love Actually with Hugh Grant, Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise again, Casino Royale. How did you get into those rooms? How did you learn to navigate these waters so seemingly quickly?
I don't. It didn't. It wasn't easy at first because Scott, when I first started acting, this was still a time where models were not invited to be. Do you know? It's not like today where they're like, they can you speak and be beautiful, perfect. Before it was like, no, we want serious actresses. So if they looked more modelly, it wasn't. You weren't so invited. So I don't know how it happened. I think because it was just starting to shift again. I wonder if it was because people like Gwyneth Paltrow and Elizabeth Hurley, yeah,
Yeah.
here started to like be glamorous again, and actors started to be like the actresses started to be dolls again, as well as great actresses. Remember that period
Yeah.
where they were like the red carpets were like, here's my brown dress at the Oscars. Like it was like they would just like dress themselves. They'd go to, Fred Siegel's and buy a dress and wear it to the Oscars. Right. And I think Rendell and I were talking about this too. That's when supermodels came up because somebody had to be glamorous somewhere.
And
So
they
other
were.
than that, once you had an agent and when you're a girl in your 20s, you're going to probably get into the rooms. What's interesting is that I had never gotten into a room with Harvey because I'd see him all the time around because I used to date Jake Paltrow, right?
I
So I
remember.
that's like another time I got completely saved. I'd auditioned for his movies, but I never had like the private audition, which I mean at the time it's not like everyone did. Not that I would have done anything. It's
I know. And look, everybody knew about Harvey. I warned everyone about Harvey. I said, listen, if
I
anyone's
didn't.
asking you didn't know, I knew. I would tell all
No.
these young girls, I would say, listen, if anyone, not just Harvey, if anybody asks you to go to dinner, this isn't about work. You know, if they're asking
Yes,
you to go to a
but
club,
we did
it's not
have
about work.
lots of. I tell people all the time though I did have meetings in hotel rooms. Like it wasn't like one of those hotel rooms where it's like there's a bed and you're not having a meeting at a bed. It's like the hotel rooms where it's like the bedroom's over there, it's a suite and you're in like a living room area. Like I've
Right.
never had a meeting, so I think people it wasn't that uncommon. So it's not like all these girls that it happened to were like, oh, they should have known better. With women, I've also had meetings in hotel rooms. I mean, we used to have castings. Actually, that's not even true. In modeling days, I feel like we'd even have castings in like not motels, like those little hotels right on ocean, right by the Santa Monica, like right on the water in Santa
Right.
Monica,
Right. Yeah.
all those little ones. You'd have
Ocean
like
Avenue. Yeah.
castings for campaigns there, and it was just photographers seeing little. I got a job from there just by showing my book and showing up. It wasn't so hotel meetings. Just if you're listening, just because somebody went to a hotel meeting, it's not like they knew what they were getting. No, it wasn't always like that. But I'm sure it also happened. Just wasn't
Yeah.
my experience.
You're right. Yeah, you're also just not the type of personality. Like I think someone feels your presence and knows you aren't the type of person that can be manipulated.
Not in that way. Not in
No.
that way. I am so stubborn about certain things
And you're
like
and
that.
you're just very self-aware, and you have a very well-defined sense of right and wrong, and you always have.
Yeah. But I don't want to like put down the girls that fall in those or the boys that fall in those situations as if they don't have a good sense of right and wrong. I think I'm very like I said, I feel like I've had a guardian angel or legion of them protecting me in Hollywood. Cause like, or like, look at like Diddy parties or whatever. I've been to Diddy parties, or, but there's no way I thought that stuff was going on after. Like, is there like this dark thing in Hollywood all the time that I'm just too naive to know about? Like, are people drinking baby blood? Like, I feel like they would if that was possible. Are you saying yes?
I can't believe you weren't invited to the club.
I
I'm
wasn't.
joking. I'm joking. I've never drank the blood of virgins either.
But is that,
He,
are
he,
people really doing that besides like
not
blood boys? If like that's a real thing from Silicon Valley, you know?
not that I know of. Not
I
that I
feel like
know
we
of.
would know. Do you know what I mean? So people are always telling me, they're like, what is it, Kodachrome, whatever. I was like, listen, I would not put anything past people in Hollywood. If that's a possible thing to drink and then you stay young forever, they would be doing it. But who looks that good that hasn't
Yeah,
had work done? You know what I mean? It's like
I mess
nobody.
with everyone. I mess with everyone who asks me. They're just like, "Oh, is adrenochrome and an Illuminati a real thing?" I say, "Listen, I don't know what you may or may not have heard about the Illuminati and adrenochrome, but I assure you, we do not exist." So let's talk Casino Royale.
Okay.
When you were there for the run of show,
Yeah.
when you walked on that set, were you like, "I've made it," or were you like, "I have so much
No.
more to prove"?
No, I didn't. In
Tell.
fact, I was just saying to somebody, I was kind of bummed about the phone call because I had auditioned for this movie where I would have been the lead female at the same
Mhm,
time that I was auditioning a lot for Casino Royale because I also auditioned for Vesper and obviously I didn't get that role. But I didn't
mhm.
get this other role either. And they called me, they're like, when you're agent and manager and everybody calls you at the same time and you're like, oh, and I thought I just got like a lead in a movie and they're like, you got offered Casino Royale to be blank. And I was like, what about what happened to, by the way, I don't even remember what that other movie was, but it
Right.
was, so my first memory of it is kind of like a bummer. I was doing a magazine shoot for Detour because I was on the show Love Monkey when I got the call. And then it was all really exciting because I got that crazy white blonde haircut, and I was like, I had to go to London immediately. It felt like to start shooting, and then I was on the run of the picture, and it was because it was Daniel Craig's first time as Bond. So, and we don't have a new one yet, do we?
Not yet,
Do we have a
no.
new? Yeah. So it was his first time, so it's always really stressful. So I probably got the best version because he's a really good actor. He's probably the best overall actor that ever played Bond, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah, probably.
Overall actor. I'm not saying the best Bond, not the best. That's so personal.
And
But
look, Bond
he,
is so generationally personal. Like for my father, it was only Sean Connery, and then mine, for better or worse, more worse, my generation, it was Roger Moore. And then when
totally.
we got then Pierce Brosnan was fine, but not. Then Daniel Craig showed up, and I was like, "There's my guy. This is my guy."
Yeah. And people were really upset that he was blonde haired, blue eyed, but the original books, he was blonde haired, blue eyed.
But yeah, but he was rough and grizzled and
Yeah.
hardened, and he looked
Which is
like
what we
someone
needed
that drank.
today.
Yeah, he looks like he drank vodka martinis and hooked up with women and killed people. He
Uh,
had that energy.
Well, he proved everyone wrong because I remember how stressful it was,
So
because
so
it's like
give me
whenever
some
they announce.
anecdotes. Give me some anecdotes from behind the scene. What was the paint a picture of what the experience was like on a show that big?
Oh my God. So I was on it for Run of Picture. There were two crews. What is that? Oh my God, my perimenopause. What is it called when it's like the second crew, a whole
Second unit?
second unit. Oh my God, it's been a freaking
I'm not even in
it's
show business. I knew that.
yes you are. You're spoke in the wheel. So there was a simultaneous second unit the whole run. And that wasn't the only unit. That was like this, like the stunty unit or whatever. And then there was still a third bits of units that were like inserts of cufflinks and freaking, just insert shots. That was half of the run of picture. And he was still really careful how he shot with like multiple cameras because somebody was on set editing as we went. It was insane. That has to be the biggest production I've ever done.
Like
Has
how
to
many
be.
bodies were on set?
Millions of bodies, so many people. But it was most of the cast wasn't SAG though, right? So it was I was one of the few SAG actors on the show, on the movie. And we had French hours, which are heaven, and America has got to get with it. So do you
What
know
are
what
French
French hours
hours?
are versus,
No,
okay, so
no.
that means you start at 6 a.m. You might be there at 5, but the crew comes at 6. You are home. You're done at 5. So wait, 6,
Civilized.
7. Really civilized. You're done every day at 5. Like maybe even their call is 7. Whatever it is, you're done at 5. And unless you've got like special and it's like time and a half, it's like really serious if you're working past that. So that means there's no lunch break and people just kind of like eat because there's plenty of time in between shots to grab little nibbles. You don't
Right.
need to, right? So then you don't have that like, let's amp back up after our
After
break. And
everyone's
it just
sitting down
kind of
for,
gets
yeah.
done. Yeah, and we went overtime just a couple days because of some restraints with, I don't know if it was in Carla Vivari where we were doing the casino scenes where like something had to be done in a certain amount of time or something like that. So it's like really
So,
civilizing, like 6 months.
any funny, interesting anecdotes from that shoot that you can recall?
I got in trouble for not wanting to be naked in a shower scene, and Mark Campbell was really pissed at me. And then he stormed into my trailer and was like, "What's the matter?" Because I had a no nudity clause. First of all, who's nude in a Bond movie anyway? It was just like probably my butt. But I had 4 living grandparents at the time. I mean, I know I went
Mm.
large and in charge with Banshee, but they were all dead by then. So I
Right.
was like, no, no, I'm not going to be taking a shower with my butt in the background while, the villains talk about how they're going to destroy the world. Like, I was like,
Right.
no, that's what I mean. I'm so stubborn. He was like, what do you mean? Like, why didn't you say something that night when I was bringing it up? And I was like, because you're like a big, strong freaking director. And you shouldn't have asked.
Yeah. Good.
Anyway, I did not get to meet the Queen at the premiere in London. So there you go.
I'm sorry.
It's all
For
right.
what it's worth, I never met her, but I photographed her husband.
Okay. You did, Philip?
I shot Prince Philip.
Yeah.
Speaking of Philip, your brother Philip and I were right when Banshee started. We were sitting around the late great Philip. We were sitting around having lunch on my set, and I said, "I haven't seen Ivana's TV show. How is it?" And he goes, "It's good. It's a little weird watching with the family with naked sister." And I'm like, "She's naked?" And he goes, "She's very naked." And I was like, "Oh
So
dear, that must be awkward."
I'm so naked. No, we all were really European about it because I was like, that's another bad decision, maybe not. I wouldn't do any nudity in my early career while I was such like a good little Christian girl that I
I know.
really was comfortable doing it till later. But then when I was ready for it, I just went balls to the wall, literally. But I wouldn't do, there were so many things I turned down because I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to get naked. I'm not going to do that. And then I was completely naked. And I'm
Completely
glad
naked.
too, because one day I'm going to look back and be like,
I was just
would have
gonna say, yeah, if I looked like you naked in that show, I would just walk around with a towel on my shoulder, just kind of boasting and just saying what's up to people.
You're so kind. It's so funny because my body was never good enough and skinny enough during all that time of modeling. I mean, I was a beauty girl, but I didn't have boobs to be a bathing suit girl or a lingerie girl. And it's so, I always had 20 pounds to lose, I feel like. I did. And then when you're acting, you're not supposed to be that skinny. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. But as Henry Ford once brilliantly said, "There's an ass for every seat." So whatever
There
you
is
think
an
you are,
ass for every.
whatever you think you are, there's a whole lot of people that are there. And on behalf of all men, We're
Yeah.
just grateful to be there. Like when people are like, do you like big boobs or small boobs? And I'm like,
Yeah,
yes.
yes. Absolutely.
They're
Exactly.
like big butts, small boobs. And I'm like, the best butt in the
Absolutely.
whole world's the one that's in my hands.
Yeah,
We're just
I like
grateful.
people.
So
I
Tom
love
Cruise,
that. That's hot actually when men just like all the women. It's weird when they have a very specific only this type. It's kind of not sexy. Do you know what I mean? It kind of seems weird.
I,
It's not
I I agree. I've never had a physical type. Like Kristen used to do this impression of girls who are only into a specific type of guy. And she'd be like, "Oh, you have a new boyfriend? What's he like?" And she'd be like, "Well, he's like has dark hair and blue eyes and he's really tan." And she'd be like, "Yeah, but what's he like?" And she'd be like, "He's like tan." And me, like I went from a 6'1" girlfriend with a buzz cut to a 5 foot tall Chinese girl to a curvy blonde. Like I just like cool and smart and funny, like I don't have a type.
yeah. Do I have a type?
So
No, not really. Mine's all over the place as well.
so
I
you
didn't
worked with
date any.
Tom Cruise you worked with Tom Cruise twice. What was that like?
The first time I didn't meet him
Okay.
because it was like because for Jerry Maguire, the audition, the what ended up in the scenes was the actual audition. He was just kind of filming people and he was like, "We'll see who we use."
Oh.
And then they just
Oh.
used that. It was really kind of cool. And then because I was only in like the tape. I played his ex-girlfriend twice, I guess,
Right.
without behind the scenes. Um Off camera, I should say.
Right.
And then by the time I did Eyes Wide Shut, I'd already met him a few times because I have Australian friends and who knew Tom and Nicole days.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how he never forgets anyone. Once he meets you, he's like, "Hi, Ivana," and you're like, "Yeah." I don't know what kind of math he does in his head, but
He is
he's
superhuman
really
from all
magnetic.
reports.
He
Yeah.
really is. You really understand why he is who he is and how he's maintained it. How hard must it be to maintain that level of stardom?
And just
What a pain in the ass.
that level of intensity. Like I can't remember which movie it was, but he was making the whole crew run with him from the hotel to set. Like he does not cock around. He has only one gear and it's
Go
fifth.
fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Were you also
Think
in
about
Vanilla Sky? Was it 3 times?
what's the third one that you're thinking? It's Vanilla Sky. Oh, what did I say? Eyes Wide Shut. Oh, Eyes
You
Wide
said
Shut
Eyes
is
Wide
the
Shut, which I didn't know of.
original.
Were you
No, no, no. Vanilla Sky is what I mean. It's the
okay?
American Eyes Wide Shut.
All right.
No,
Love
Eyes
Act.
Wide Shut was his Stanley Kubrick movie. No, I'm not in Eyes Wide. I wish I was in Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah,
I
I
did
didn't
audition
remember you
for
from
Eyes.
that.
I did audition
But
for that.
But I remember because I would never keep up, because I can't keep up with all my friends. But I'd like go to the movies. I'd be like, "Oh, there's Ivana again." So you were always just popping up in these little bits here and there.
Well, you know what though, my Kristen and Mary get really mad at me because I also never tell people when I'm in a movie. I've got a movie that's coming out tomorrow in Hollywood. Well, it'll be a week later. The Astronaut that I did with Kate Mara here in Dublin, and I
Okay.
never tell my friends because back in the day when I lived with Charlize, if that girl did a Ross Dress for Less commercial, we were all watching it. It was like gather around, grab your wine. So like she would always show us her work, which was great, but then it made me never ever tell anyone about anything I did. Bad
Yeah.
decision?
Yeah.
Decision? I don't know.
No. I think it's a good decision. I met this woman on Raya who lives in London. So why was I even talking to her in the first place? But she was a movie
Because you might
producer.
come to London.
Well, I do come to London from time to time, but am I really going to be dating someone that's in London? But anyway,
Look at me and
we
Patty.
true.
He was in Ireland, I was in LA. You never know.
You never
I think you
know.
need to open your
So anyway, we were FaceTiming, and she was producing Wonka in London at Warner Brothers with Timothy Chalamet, and
mm,
And then I said, I got a friend who's an actor in London who you should work with. He's a great character actor. And she said, what's his name? And I said his name. And she goes, oh, I already did use him. I said, on what? She goes, I produced the last Jurassic Park movie. And then I called him and I said, why didn't you tell me you did Jurassic Park? And he's like, how'd you know I did Jurassic Park? I said, I'm FaceTime dating the producer. And he goes, I don't tell any about it because I could end up on the editing room floor. And guess what? He ended up on the editing room floor. So
Exactly.
that's
Well, I
that's
don't
why
even
you
do
don't
it
tell.
because of that. It's just, I don't know why. Well, I told you I have the astronaut coming out. And I
Yeah,
hope it's
tell
good
me
because
about that.
I really love this story. This female writer director, Jess Varley. I met her here, and I was kind of in tears when I met her because it is so. I can count on one hand how many times I worked or even met on a movie that a woman was going to direct. I mean, it's changing now, and I haven't been working that much because I've been momming and wifing and freaking strikes and COVID and all, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So maybe it's better now, but it wasn't. And it was so nice. So first of all, that was exciting. And the story was like a really cool twist on the comeback from space genre. I don't know. It's like a sci-fi sort of thriller. And Kate Mara's amazing. And I play a NASA scientist, if you please. Okay.
Nice.
So
When does this picture come out?
I think it's out in theaters. I don't know when this show comes out, but it comes out tomorrow if tomorrow's Friday.
Oh, I'm gonna go see it.
So I don't know how quickly when does this come out?
Mm, Next Wednesday.
Okay, so it's like a quick. Okay, so it will
Yeah.
be in the theater hopefully still by then.
Yeah. So I would imagine so.
You never know. It's a tough world out there. It is a tough world out there. But let me tell you something. I was like, I did this show here as well called Sherlock and Daughter, which is on the CW, which I don't even know where that is. Like Hollywood is so, I feel like Hollywood is this, like, where is it now? What is it now? It was like the biggest hit on CW. No one barely posted about it. People like it. I've never seen it. It's like just so strange.
Yeah,
Life.
it's like content overload. It's impossible to keep up with everything. And
Exactly.
and they
And
don't and they don't advertise much. The only things they
well, where
advertise
would
are
they
those
advertise?
like those Sunset Strip for those handful of marquee big, tentpole action movies, but the rest of it you just kind of have to hear from word of mouth. And there's so many streamers, and I don't know where that's going, and they're all hemorrhaging money, it appears. Uh
What is going
I think it'll be in. I honestly think it's a good thing that Larry Ellison and his son David are kind of taking over. So like they bought Viacom, they bought TikTok, and they're probably going to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. And I think
what's going to
consolidation
happen?
in this, I think consolidation in this case might be a really good thing. If you bought a bunch of streamers and made them into one, so everyone doesn't have to, because now it's back to basically having direct TV. You got to pay for Apple and Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and Paramount Plus and Peacock, and it's just like I'm back to spending $150 a month if you want
Yeah.
to do that. So I think consolidation might be a good thing too. I hope.
I think maybe we should just go back to the beginning. Make multi-camera sitcoms. Just go back where we left off when everything was flowing really well. The world needs that kind of happiness now, and I don't want that magical skill to go away either. Is there even does a sitcom even exist right now? Because I don't have television. I only have the streamers.
I don't have TV either. I used to have a big one right there, and then in one impulsive moment a few months ago, I was like, I haven't turned you on in 2 months, and I got a socket set off the wall, and I unbolted it, and I moved it, dropped it on the sidewalk outside, and then I was like,
Well,
wait,
where do
I
you
have a
watch?
giant on my laptop. It's enough. It's good enough.
Yuck. Yuck.
I
How
know.
I
I
am
know.
not happy. Do you go to movie theater? Do you go to the movies?
Sometimes not as.
No wonder. No wonder.
Because
And
I'm
I don't go as
disappointed
much
most of
either.
the times I go. Like I'll go there for the kind of movie that you have to see in a theater. Like I went to see F1 in the theater.
Dune,
I went
right?
to see Maverick in the theater. But
And Dune. Are you
I've
a
never
Dune
seen
person?
either Dune. I've never seen it. That's why I didn't know when Timothy Chalamet came into our FaceTime call. And she's like, "Timmy, meet Scott." And I was like, "How you doing?" I go, "Are you in Wonka?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Who are you playing?" And he goes, "Wonka." And I said, and I didn't know how huge of a star he was. And I said, "Those are some big shoes to fill, Gene Wilder." And he goes, "I know." And he was really cool.
Yeah, I love him. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, the kid's got the thing. He's
Yeah.
got the
No,
thing.
he did. Yeah, he does have the thing. So your brother Tomo plays for 30 Seconds to Mars.
Well, he did,
What?
and then he
Yeah.
didn't, and then he did just now for the last leg of the last show of the tour
Oh, I
after
can't
like
keep up.
10 years. Well, no,
Okay.
he left the band for a long time. It was all very dramatic. After Philip died, our brother, he like it just was all it was a he went through he went through a really rough time, Tomo, up until recently. And now he's happy in love, lives in the south of France. I
Oh,
highly
good for
recommend
him.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would if I could. What values did your parents instill in you to produce such successful children?
Uh I don't know, maybe just because we're Eastern European and we're immigrants, and I think immigrants don't come to America to not to be lazy usually, I don't think. It's not easy to get there. You're not like, and it's not like it's social welfare. Like it's not a socialist country. So, you got to come and work. So, and then we were really, really loved, really loved. And I think maybe if I wasn't loved as much, I'd be more successful because I didn't need love from the outside. Do you know how it is? Like people, oftentimes in our business, and I say yours too, even though you're a photographer and musician, this is all Hollywood stuff, right? And I think that people who weren't loved as much are looking for either love or power in that. And if you're kind of content in those areas, I think maybe you float more. I don't know, because I maybe I would have been more successful. I was successful, but I maybe even more if I had more of like a fire under my butt. I don't know.
I don't know. To me, you're like a female Johnny Depp. Like you've always worked as long as I've known you.
I did up until COVID, actually. And then I was even going to work during COVID, and I was like, I'm not leaving my baby for,
Yeah, but
months
you
and months because I couldn't because of quarantine.
and that's what I want to get into next. So you shifted priority as you should, and you had your son Phoenix Jedi, great name, in your 40s. Is that right?
44.
44.
I'm telling you,
Um,
I'm like, what? I don't know.
Fertile. Did motherhood shift your relationship with your ambition or identity?
Yes. Well, actually, if COVID didn't happen, because I worked all through my pregnancy in the first 2 years of his life, and I was just like
Hmm.
doing the normal thing, but I could have him with me. So I was still nursing. So I would like nurse him in my trailer, have a nanny there, go work, so he was with me at all the time for those 2 years, and I was pregnant. The first year I was working on the 100. And then when COVID happened, and we were just in Dublin, I was like, oh my God, not hustling is so amazing. Like, not like this is so lovely. And then when he started to get older and I knew I couldn't just bring him and take him away from his dad, I was like, I don't understand, honestly, how actresses do it, the ones that leave their family. I don't know how. They must have like,
Some,
or maybe it's because even with now, unless you're moving the whole family and putting them in school wherever you are, like I don't get it. It's too much
yeah.
time missed.
Look,
So I'll
some
do
people,
shows that
yeah.
shoot here. Listen, if some crazy opportunity came along, but like I don't know anyone who's working besides Nicole Kidman and Tilly Norwood.
Yeah, let's talk about Tilly Norwood. What's your take on her? Do you know her?
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't know her. Don't know her. Oh my God. Well, at first I was like, like my heart hurt. And then I was like, okay, do it. If they make a movie with her and we're blown away, and maybe not the first one, maybe the second one, they're whatever. If they start making movies with these, AI creations and it works, and we're like, oh, I'm so moved. I mean, we're fine. Like it's over. But I
Yeah.
wonder if it will work. Will it work?
Here's the
Because
thing.
there's always a balance, right? Because, like,
Sure.
tell me what you think about this, right? I've heard it said from that guy that had the Ferrari agency or something. What's his name? Do I have that wrong? The guy in LA, because I think he's friends with Omar. And he
Okay.
was saying like what people are looking for in commercials while they're still looking for human beings for commercials are people who look really, really real, maybe a little overweight. Their teeth are not freaking chiclets, like perfect chiclets. It's not this because now that everyone can have cheeks and lips and eyes and now that everyone can look like that, now you probably want like that. Now the equilibrium is moving to, even though some people really are prettier with some work they've had done. They really are. It's really a good glow up. But now we're like, now we want more mangled faces. Like I was even looking at the shows in Paris and like the girls they were using. I was like, these girls did not have work done. Let me tell you that. Like it was just like interesting, weird, maybe not even pretty faces. Not like the glamazons of the 90s or whatever. So I was just like, there's got to be an equilibrium where something's gonna have to be even more real to balance out the not real.
Right,
No,
which can
yes.
which can also be fabricated. I don't know. I'm not saying it's never going to be there, but I'm saying like if Chat GPT and the visual generative AI right now is the best you can do, then I am unimpressed. I think all the AI that exists today is the most overhyped pile of garbage. Like it's good. Give me a sourdough recipe. It's great for that. Make
It's
me a
Google.
make me a spreadsheet. It's great for that. Yeah, it's Google, but it's
Yeah.
more consolidated. You don't have to
Yeah.
have 10 open tabs to find the information you're looking for. But
Yeah, exactly.
if you say write me something, I just as an experiment, I fed ChatGPT my entire book, and I said start writing some stories in my voice, and it can't do it. And I
Yeah.
listen to other people's podcasts, and I hear the same language style on everybody's. I can tell everybody, even on the news, I can tell who's used ChatGPT because they're like, this
In
is a
terms of
story
what
of
way? You mean like in terms
just
of like an intro or something? Because what do you mean? Why do
well,
podcasts use chat?
just phrasing it, just phrasing in general. I hear it on the news. This is a story of resilience and redemption, and I'm like, oh God, it's like, and I hear these
Yeah.
same. It's an endless list of them, but it has a style, and it's not organic. It's not human. Here's the thing: for humans to be entertained, I think they need to feel humanity above all else. And it's like my mother. I remember when I was first going in photography, and my mother would look at a photo on a magazine cover, and in her Chicago accent, she would say, "Something's not right about this picture. It doesn't look right." And I'd be like, "Yeah," and she would recognize a very Photoshop thing, and I'd be like, "Yeah, it's over retouched." And she's like, "I don't know what that is, but it doesn't look real." And I think maybe it'll change, but to me, I look at AI actors the same way I look at sex dolls. Like they look kind of like it, but it's not a woman. It's just not.
I
Not yet,
wonder.
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Or like if all advertising becomes AI, like I get that it's easy, and especially for like a commercial of somebody being like, you know, but am I buying $1 million cream for anti-aging sold to me by a non-existent human? I'm like, oh, does it work on her skin? Well, it's
Yeah.
not going to work on mine, because I'm not. Then I can just use a Instagram filter in that case. So I'm curious. Listen, it's here. I'm grateful that I'm living the dream here in Dublin with my family, my whole family now. Toma is just close by over there in France, and I can't imagine being like a 27-year-old navigating Hollywood today, or 25, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm here for my career. And you're like, what are you walking into? What are the kids
Yeah.
doing? Like, well, I guess they're
Yeah.
influencers and YouTubers, which is what we're
Uh,
doing
I guess. I
right
guess.
now.
So let's get into that. Let's tell me about your life in Dublin, what it's like, and tell me about Notions, your amazing podcast, and where the idea came from and how it's going.
So my life in Dublin is amazing. It's Dublin, the whole island of Ireland is maybe 6 million people, and that includes Northern Ireland, which is a whole other country. That's the UK.
Yeah.
Ireland, Republic of, which is where I am, is not the UK. I didn't know that when I first got here. And it's like a sweet life. They say that Ireland's a village and Dublin's no, Ireland's a city and Dublin's a village. It is small. Everybody knows everybody else. It's
Really?
but it's fabulous because it's just on a smaller scale, right? So you've got everything you need. You've got beautiful plays, of course. You've got even fancy clothes and stores and restaurants, Michelin star restaurants, but everything's on a smaller scale in a way. But then you're an hour and a half from Paris, 45 minutes to London, 45 minutes to Amsterdam. Like you're close to everything in Europe. And I'm
Amazing.
talking different countries. You'll be in a plane for 6 hours in America and you're still in America, you know?
Yeah, it
So
takes 3
that's
days just to
beautiful.
drive across Texas. Yeah, it's like, and
Exactly. Exactly.
especially in LA, it's like we're really far from everything, and everyone's like, "Well, you have Hawaii," and I'm like, it's a big misconception. Hawaii's not that close. It's still over 5 hours to
No,
fly there.
it's so far away.
And to
Exactly.
go to Europe is like a New Yorker going to Asia. It's really effing far for New York. I guess the only thing that's close to us is Mexico. But in
Mm.
Europe, like I know people who are like, living in Mayfair, like Wall Street types, killing themselves. But they're on a quick flight to Spain, and it's like
Yes,
they're
they
in
are.
LA or they're in
Or
they're in a
Portugal.
beautiful, warm place. Yeah.
That's the life
So
here. And it's socialist, so people have, vacations when they're pregnant, they have time off. It's so funny. I was laughing with my manager in America because my London agent, like, I can't tell you how many times they've been on their break, on their yearly break or this vacation, that vacation. It's like, so Graciela was like, yeah, we're laughing about how they're always on vacation. They're just living their best life.
right. All right.
And
Talk the
and
show for all the. Go ahead.
for about notions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love doing my podcast. I heard that everyone in LA has one. Is that true?
I think everyone everywhere has one.
Really, I don't think so because there's so many people still alive that I talk to that like, oh, I don't listen to podcasts. I'm like, I don't think it's quite as saturated as we think. We'll see what rises to the top, but it's not like everybody watches them or like really huge ones like Diary of a CEO. Do you even listen to that one, or have you ever heard of it?
No, and I consume a few of
Exactly.
them,
But yeah,
like
but that's what I mean. There's so many out there that are like huge that somebody hasn't even heard of. That get
yeah.
millions of viewers and listeners. Anyway, so my friend and I can't believe I didn't think of it actually. My friend's husband was like, "You guys never stop talking. You guys should do a podcast." And I was like, "Oh my God, how have we not thought of this?" But I knew I wanted it to be glossy and like a TV show because I really
Yeah.
like the camera. I still want to do stuff with the camera. And besides that, I think that if we succeed on YouTube, that's better for us than just in the podcast sector, right? Like, if you hit it in YouTube, it is much more fortuitous than just in the podcast world itself. Am I crazy?
No, you're 100% right. If you can crack YouTube, and YouTube is tougher to get discovered. Like I can do something on TikTok and get, 300,000 views, and the
Hmm.
same content might get 700 on YouTube. Now,
YouTube.
on the other hand, YouTube pays much better when you do crack it. So like I had a video, I got my stats back yesterday on, I posted it in my story. 83,000 views, which is not bad. Revenue, 4 cents.
I don't
What?
understand how we're ever going to make a dime then. Can you explain that to me for anyone watching who's like thinking about getting into this space?
Well, a lot of people get some gets. Like when I had like Jay Leno, I had him on, which was very lucky that I got that one, and that was good. That YouTube video was good for a few months' rent. But I just talk to people that I find interesting. So,
Yeah,
look, you're inherently interesting, but it never hurts to have guests that come with their own draw.
exactly. No, you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So that's my path. I mean, I'm not, I get what I get right now with the hopes that it'll grow. But here's the thing: it's everything I've ever done is just for the creative pursuit of it all. Sometimes it makes money, sometimes it doesn't. But I enjoy researching people. I enjoy talking to people like you, and I enjoy the process. And it's growing steadily. So we'll see.
Mm. Well, you're really good. I love your stories.
Thank
You
you.
you're a good storyteller. I liked your series that you had for a while where you were teaching, what are they called? Sugar babies? Like which bags to accept and which bags not to accept. I
Yeah,
was like, this is like
I never
sound
thought that
advice.
that would be I never thought that that would be such a big thing. Like that got me guesting on all these other big shows. Um,
Really? So,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, someone pitched me on being in a TV show where it's like The Voice kind of thing, but for hoes. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be this
Oof,
like
no, good for
middle-aged
you.
white guy advising women how to, ensnare wealthy men. I was like, this is not my
No.
brand. I just want people who, I really it
You're
was
just
really
like if you're
rooted in
doing it.
safety and comedy was what I was doing because I'd
I
watched
know.
women do it the right way and the wrong way, because you know me. But
Yeah.
so how many
Yeah.
episodes deep are you in Notions?
I was just thinking about it. I don't think that I think that in the can total, I don't think we have more than 15. It's so slow. Do you do
It's
one
a
every
good
week? Because you've
start.
got like a million.
Uh,
You've
I
got like
I am
40.
I am 6 episodes into season 4, 10 episodes before. So I've got 36, I think. So not that
Uh,
many. Not and then sometimes I won't take a pause between a season, and sometimes I'm like I need a month off or 2 months off or something.
yeah. And then do you
Because to
bank
me,
them?
I did this season, and now I've run out. So so I've got to rally a few more. But hey, I'm good for a
But
week.
would
If
you
you,
ever, but wait a minute. Do you ever do episodes of just you answering questions?
It's a good idea, and I should. And everyone I know with podcasts tells me to do it.
I
I'm
think people
going
like, because
to.
then, yeah, do it because people might have actual questions and that way you have content. Because, yeah, try it.
It's a great idea, and I'm going to BravoCon. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
It's like Comic Con with Bravo people in Vegas, and Melissa Rivers is making me go. And I'm like, Melissa, I don't know what there is for me to do there. I've literally seen like one episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and all I saw was
Yeah.
eyelashes and screaming people, drunk people. And I saw an episode of Below Deck, which is all right, but like I'm not going to know who any of these people are. What are we doing? And she's like, well, our network's going to have a podcast studio built in the Four Seasons, and you'll just bring people up to the suite and talk to them. And I was like, okay, but I'm going to have to bring someone who watches Bravo so we know how to like spot people. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a go, or maybe I'll just meet some weird Bravo fans and interview them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't,
You'd be good.
like everything else, I'm just figuring it out as I go.
You just do it. Exactly. You are somebody that says yes to life.
I do. So Notions, where did the name come from?
So, do you know what notions means at all? So,
Not in the.
in Ireland, notions means like tall poppies or like I guess, up yourself. So when I first heard that saying, I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever heard because I had complimented somebody's wife and I was like, oh my God, I really love what she'd done with the place. And he was like, yeah, well, she's got notions. And I was like, because it means like it's above your station. Like if somebody sees you on Facebook eating caviar and then they'd say about you like, oh, did you see Scott Nathan on Facebook? Caviar. Far from caviar, he was reared. Absolute notions about yourself. And I was like, as an American, of course, we all have notions. We are so delusional and we have to be. And we're still, I think, some leftover bits of an aspirational culture where we're like, yay, if it, look at us, we both have a podcast, we're going to do each other's, we're like, hey, if it can happen for you, it can happen for me. And, you know, we believe in this as opposed to these other cultures where they're like, wow, you know, you just, you know, you don't get too tall, don't get too much. And we just don't have that,
No,
you know, so
no. And
that's
it,
where it
look,
comes like
yeah,
absolute notion.
I love it. I love it. Um,
And it's a
all right.
podcast where it's like woman talk. It's people that I find interesting. It's like, and I really love being really, really open and honest. Like it's so nice because when you're an actress and you're doing talk shows, you can't be really, you can't. You got to like be.
You got to go sell. But yeah, if I've learned anything, it's that, you know, the more you let authenticity fly, the more the audience likes it. Because nobody wants to have. I don't want to have a press junket conversation with someone. I want to ask real questions and know about real human things.
Yeah, same, exactly.
All right, I'm getting it in my ear. That's our time. But
Thank
um,
you, Scott, for having me.
and I know it's late there, but thank you so much for doing this, and always great to catch up, and to be
Yeah,
continued.
love you. Can't wait to see you. I'll see you in January. You're gonna come on Notions.
All right, I'm down. The Bad Decisions podcast was produced by Brock Workman of Her Dad Entertainment. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. My book, The Big Book of Bad Decisions, is available for purchase wherever books are sold. A special thanks to today's guest, Ivana Milicevic, for joining me. I'm your host, Scott Nathan. Thanks for listening.